Good morning, grade 7s, and welcome to your mathematics for today with WorksheetCloud.com. Hope you guys are well. I've just finished my early morning exercise with my 8-year-old son. So feeling quite fresh and quite lively and enthusiastic. And I'd highly encourage you to get some exercise in every day. If you can, before you start doing any academics, then even more beneficial to you. Just wakes you up, increases the blood flow, and gets you ready for the day. All right. Okay, so just a reminder of the email address, grade7@worksheetcloud.com. Feel free to send me any questions or related queries on other lessons that we've done, or perhaps things we haven't covered that you are unsure about. As by now, I'm sure you're aware that WorksheetCloud.com is your one-stop shop for your online lessons. There are obviously all the past lessons. There are activities with memos for you to do. It's entirely up to you as to which lesson you do. Perhaps go through what you need to brush up on and then look for a lesson that can help you out in that regard. Okay, so today we've got our normal starters and mental maths questions. We're going to look at operations with mixed fractions today. And then we're also going to look at writing two amounts as fractions. And then we've got our finishes and our 24 challenge at the end. Right, our warm-up activity for today. Use your math skills to find the value of each symbol. And then remember to do the question mark at the end. Now would be a great time to pause, work it out by yourself, and then press play and see if you've indeed been able to work it out. Okay, so well done for working that out, guys. So as you can see, they are starting to get a little bit more tricky. And they will get more challenging as the days go by, and I think you guys will be ready for it. So where do I start here? Okay, I know that those are equal, the French loaves and the cake mixer, but it's difficult to assign a value to them. Okay, but I'm going to look at the second line, and I know that 4 equals 5 minus 1. Okay, so I know that that's cake is equal to 1. Okay. Then I know that 23 plus 1 is equal to 24. Okay. And so then I know that 8 multiplied by 3 is equal to 24. Okay. So now I know that my cake is worth 1. I haven't figured out what the loaves of bread are yet, but I know that the biscuit is subtract 8. So what subtract 8? 9 subtract 8. Okay, and that's going to give you the value of the loaves. Okay, then I go to this section here, the third line, and I know that 9 is equal to 9. And then 17 is equal to 9. We need to add 1 at the end. Okay, so that gives us 10. So then the donut must be at 7. Okay, then at the bottom, I know that the mixer is 9. I know that the bread is 9. And I know that the cookie is 8. Okay, and I know that my order of operations, I do the multiply first. So 9 multiplied by 8 is 72. And add that 9 and we get 81. Okay, well done for sticking with that. And yeah, hopefully they are getting a little bit easier for you, but I am going to start challenging you as we go forward. Okay, mental maths questions for today, also based on previous lessons. So I'm just trying to get you to recap ideas and principles that we've covered in previous days. You'll find that if the less you revise those principles, the less likely you are to remember them going forward. So 1 or 2 examples each day is going to do you guys the world of good. Okay, now would be a great time to press pause, complete the 5 questions. Remember to have a pen and a piece of paper, or even better, a pencil and a piece of paper to work these things out, and then press play to see if you've managed to get them correct. Okay, guys, well done for working that out. Now, the first question, 96 times 47. I can imagine the majority of you might have done it in a column method. I want to show you a slightly different method today. It is the split strategy, but before we've spoken about the split strategy when we've multiplied by a single digit, and now we're multiplying by a double digit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split the 96 up into 90 and 6, okay, because there straight away I've got a friendly number, which is a number ending in 0, and quite possibly the easiest numbers to work with. And 40 multiplied by, sorry, not multiplied, just 40 and 7 at the top, okay? So I'm going to just draw in a couple lines here. Right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply 90 by 40, but I know that I can go 9 multiplied by 4, which is 36. Okay, and I need to have the 2 zeros in the answer. Okay, now I can go 90 multiplied by 7, and I know that 9 times 7 is 63. So 90 times 7 must be 630. Okay, now I need to multiply this 6 by 40. Okay, but I know that 6 times 4 is 24. So 24, and then I still need to add the 0, 240. And 6 multiplied by 7 is equal to 42. Okay, now if I add all those numbers together, here I'm going to get 3,600, sorry, apologies, 3,840, okay, and here I'm going to get 672. And now it's just a case of adding 3,840 and 672, and you'll see that your answer should be 4,512. Okay, so that's just another method for you to use. I'm really a big believer in looking at the question at hand and figuring out a way that's easiest to calculate it. I don't look at questions and just calculate them because that's the way I was taught at school. And I encourage you guys to look at different methods and look for one that really appeals to you, and use that to your advantage. Okay, so rewind and have a look at that method. I think it makes life a lot easier because we end up multiplying friendly numbers together. And remember, friendly numbers end in 0. And as I just showed you, you can just take that 0 away, and then make the sum easier for you, and then just put that 0 back at the end. Okay, question 2 is the division of fractions. So here you should have remembered that when you divide fractions, the division sign turns to multiply, and the second fraction, or the fraction after the division sign, gets inverted and becomes the reciprocal. So that's what we have. Then we multiply the numerators together normally, and we multiply the denominators together normally, and we get 21 over 10. If you were asked to convert that to a mixed number, so that's a whole number and a fraction, you're looking at 2 and 1 over 10. And why is that? Because 10 goes into 21 twice, and there is 1 left over, and we always keep that denominator. Okay, complete the sequence. So I'm hoping that you realize that all 4 of those numbers, 2, 3, 5, and 7, are prime numbers. So the next prime numbers after 2, 3, 5, and 7 are going to be 11, 13, 17, and 19. Okay, so all of those numbers are prime. Well done if you managed to spot that. Okay, 548 divided by 7. Again, there are a few ways to do this question. I'm just going to go through the traditional method that I'm sure most of you would have been taught, and that's got various names from bathstop method to table mountain method, because apparently it looks like table mountain. So what am I talking about? Is this one here. Okay, so you got a little bus stop, or yeah, you can maybe see why that some people said Table Mountain. 548. Okay, and what we now look at is, does 7 go into the first number being 5? No, it doesn't. Okay, so you can either put a 0 there, or you can put a little dot there. Okay, now look, does 7 go into the first two numbers being 54? 7 does go into 54 7 times. We know 7 times 7 is 49. Okay, what's left over is 5. And that 5 goes with that 8. Sorry, that's meant to look like a 5. Okay, and now how many times does 7 go into 58? And that's 8 times. 7 times 8 is 56. And there is a remainder of 2. Okay, I'm going to leave that method. We might have a look at additional methods in the next few days, but that would be your standard short division method. Okay, and then your last question was 4x plus 12 equals 20. What is the value of x? Okay, so what plus 12 is 20? It's 8 plus 12 is 20. So 4 multiplied by what is 8? 2. So x must equal 2. Okay, guys, well done. Let's have a look at what we're getting at today. Okay, so today we're looking at operations with mixed numbers. So we're still looking at addition, subtraction, division, and multiplication with fractions, but now we've got mixed numbers. Okay, and for me personally, I prefer to change the mixed numbers to improper fractions because I think that makes your life a lot easier. And then if you need to convert it at the end, then feel free to do so. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work through A and B of each 4 questions with you, and then I'm going to let you do C and D by yourselves, and then you can see how you got along. Okay, so we're just going to have a look at the first 2 questions here of A and B. So if I've got the 2 1/4 plus the 4 2/3. Okay, I'm going to convert them to improper fractions. Now we've already had a lesson on that, so you can kind of see why we need to learn about the conversion of fractions before we go into the operations. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9/4. And 4 times 3 is 12, plus the 2 is 14/3. Okay, now I need to look for my lowest common denominator of 4 and 3, and that's quite right. You guessed it, or you've worked it out because you guys know your tables so well. It's 12. So the denominator 4 goes into 12 3 times. So the 9 times 3 is 27. We're adding. The 3 goes into the 12 4 times. So the 4 times 14, okay, is going to be your 56. Okay, remember 14 times 4, I can say 14 times 2 is 28, and then 28 times 2 again is 56. Okay, that's just a little method for you. And then I need to add the numerators. 56 and 27 is going to give me 83. And that's over 12. And I would leave it there unless you were asked to to convert it back to a mixed number. You guys should already know how to do that. Okay, while I clear the board, I just want you to have a look at option B. Okay, 2 1/4 subtract 1 2/5, and you guys should be trying to work out what the improper fraction of each of those is. Okay, so I'm not going to rewrite the whole question. 2 1/4, 2 times 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9, so we're going to have 9 over 4. Subtract, and by now you should be able to tell me that it's 7 over 5. Okay, the lowest common multiple of 4 and 5 is 20. 4 goes into 25 times, so 5 times 9 is 45. 5 goes into 24 times, so 4 times 7 is 28. Okay, 45 minus 28 is equal to 17 over 20. Okay, right, press pause and see if you can go ahead and do C and D. Okay, guys, well done if you've worked through those. Let's have a look at the answers and let's see how you guys fared. So question C, to convert to improper fractions, I'm going to have 28 over 5 and subtract 5 over 2. My lowest common denominator is 10. Okay, 5 goes into 10 twice, so I must multiply 28 by 2, and that gives me 56. And 2 goes into 10 5 times, so I must multiply the numerator 5 by 5, and that's 25. Okay, now I've got to subtract 25 from 56. Okay, that's going to give me 31 over 10. And if you had to convert that to a mixed number, 3 and 1 over 10. Okay, and then at the top for D, 3, sorry, let me just write the improper. I'm sure you guys are good with that now. 19 over 6 plus 6 over 5. Okay, my lowest common multiple of 6 and 5 is 30. Okay, 6 goes into 35 times. So now I must go 19 multiplied by 5. Okay, so here, the way I would do 19 multiplied by 5 is I'd go 20 multiplied by 5 is 100. Then I must take off one group of 5 to go back to 19. And that's 100 minus 5 is 95. 5 goes into 36 times. And we know 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, so when I add 95 and 36 together, I'm going to get 131 over 30. Okay, and then you guys can convert that to 4 and 11 over 30 if you are indeed asked to do so. Okay, so then the second group of 4 questions was regarding division. Okay, and again, I'm going to do the first 2 for you, and then I'm going to leave C and D for you guys to look after yourselves. So if I did 3 multiplied by 2.5, we know that 3 can be written as 3 over 1. Okay, so I'm just doing that so that both sides of the division sign are fractions, and I find it a little bit easier to work with 2 fractions rather than the 3 whole numbers. The whole number and the fraction. I know that that must change to multiply, and I know originally that 2.5 would have been 5 over 2. Okay, but we know that with division, the division sign changes to multiply, and we flip the second fraction or the fraction after the division sign, and that becomes the reciprocal. Okay, and now we just multiply normally. 3 times 2 is 6, and 1 times 5 is 5. So your answer there is going to be 6 over 5, or 1 1/5. For B, I know that 1 2/3 is 5 over 3. The division sign changes to multiply. The 3 would have been 3 over 1. So now it becomes 1 over 3. And now I just multiply normally, and I get 5 over 9. Okay, go ahead and do C and D, and then press play to see how you fared. We do the same principles. So 2 and 2/5 is going to be 12 over 5. The division sign changes to multiply. I know that 1 and 1/2 is 3 over 2. Okay, so the reciprocal of that is 2 over 3. Okay, now I'm just going to go through one of the strategies I spoke to you about in the previous lesson about multiplying fractions together, just to see if you guys can remember it. And this is all about making my multiplication of my numerators and denominators easier, and this results in less simplification at the end. So if I have an opportunity to simplify diagonally, then I have the option to do so. So what I mean by that is this 3 over here can go into this 12 over here. So that 3 goes into itself once, and it goes into this 12 4 times. Okay, now my operation that I need to do, or my sum that I need to do, is a lot easier. It's 4 times 2 is 8, and 5 times 1 is 5, and I'm not required to simplify any further. Had I left it at 12 over 5 and 2 over 3, I would have had 12 times 2 is 24 over 15. Then I would have needed to simplify and recognize that 3 goes into 24 8 times, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. And I'm just trying to show you there that by simplifying diagonally in the calculation helps you out a little bit towards the end. Okay, because either way is accurate, and you can choose either way, whichever way suits you. Okay, and then 5 and 1/2 for D. I know that 5 and 1/2, 5 times 2 is 10, plus the 1 is 11 over 2, and that becomes multiplied. And I know that 1 and 2/3 is 5 over 3, so the reciprocal of 5 over 3 is 3 over 5. And now it's just a case of multiplying your numerators. 11 times 3 is 33, and 2 times 5 is 10. And then you would be able to convert that to a mixed number if the instructions said so. Okay? Okay, guys, well done if you managed to work those out. Right, the next section we look at is combined operations. So I'm going to let you guys have an opportunity to maybe work these out, and then I'm gonna work through them on the Google Jamboard with you. Off you go and attempt those 2 questions. Okay, guys. So well done for giving those a shot. Let's work through them and let's see how you did. Please take note of any areas where you might have made errors. As soon as you recognize those places where you make errors, you can rectify them, learn from those mistakes, and move forward in a positive manner. Okay, so 1 over 7 add 6 times 5 is 30, plus the 3 is 33 over 5, and then multiply the 3 over 2. 3 over 2 is the improper fraction of 1 and 1/2. Okay, so I need to do the 33 over 5 multiplied by the 3 over 2 first because of order of operations. Multiply comes before addition. So that means I'm going to left with 1 over 7 add 99 over 10. 33 times 3 is 99, and 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, my lowest common denominator there is going to be 70. Okay, 7 goes into 70 10 times, so 10 times 1 is 10. Okay, and then 99 multiplied by 7. Okay, so 90 multiplied by 7 is 630. And then 9 multiplied by 7 is 63. So 630 and 63 is 693. And if I put those together, I'm going to get 703 over 70. And if you need to convert it back to a mixed number, you know that 70 goes into 710 times, and we're left with 3 over 70. Okay, guys, well done if you got that. These are potentially quite tricky, so if you're getting them, then you understand your fraction principles. Our second calculation involves division and multiplication, and in order of operations, divisions comes first. So first we've got 9 over 2, so that's 4.5, divided by 3 times 6 is 18, and the 5 is 23 over 6, and multiplied by 16 over 3. Okay, and then I know that when I divide by a fraction, the division sign becomes a multiplication sign, and that fraction that's after the division sign gets inverted and becomes the reciprocal. Okay, so now I need to multiply 9 by 6 by 16 for the numerator, and 2 times 23 times 3 for the denominator. And I'm going to go through that method I showed you previously, where you could simplify diagonally to make those multiplications easier. Okay, so we'll grab a different color. I know that 3 can go into 3 once and into 6 twice. Okay, 3 is the highest common factor of 6 and 3. So therefore we can divide both 6 and 3 by 3. And I also know that 2 goes into 2 once and into 16 8 times. If you're sitting there asking there if I could have gone 3 goes into 3 once and into 9 3 times and left the 6, then absolutely. Okay, you could have done that. You could have also used the 2 to simplify with the 16 or the 6. Okay, so the choice is yours. Now all I've got to do at the top is 9 times 2 times 8. Okay, so 9 times 2 is 18, and then 18 times 8. So I'm going to say 10 times 8 is 80, plus 8 times 8 is 64, so 144. Alternatively, you could say 2 times 8 is 16, 16 times 9, again 144. Okay, so you could have done 9 times 8 is 72, 72 times 2 is 144. So what I'm trying to show you there is it doesn't matter what order you operate in, you still get the same answer. So you can manipulate a multiplication sum to make it easier for you. For me, 9 times 8 is 72. I should know that from my multiples, and then multiplying by 2 is relatively straightforward. Okay, so at the numerator, I've got 144. Okay, and my denominator, 1 times 23 times 1 is 23. Okay, and then to convert to a mixed numeral, how many times does 23 go into 144? So I'm going to estimate about 6. Let's see if I get that correct. 6 times 23, 6 times 20 is 120, 6 times 3 is 18. Put them together to 138, and that leaves me with 6 over 23. Okay, guys, well done if you work through those. They are quite challenging. So yeah, well done. Okay, guys, so some tricky questions there. Again, pause, rewind, make sure you understand. The email address is at the bottom of your screen, grade7@worksheetcloud.com. Please feel free to use it. Send me questions. Maybe I haven't explained it as well as you like. I will explain it again until you get it. Okay, that's not a problem. Right, here's your finisher for today. Okay, also starting to get a little bit tricky, and you are going to have to think a little bit deeper from here on in, but I'm pretty sure you guys are up for the challenge. Off you go and try work out that finisher. Okay, guys, well done. I'm just going to fill in the numbers that I have. I've got 5, 7, 36, 7, and 4. Sorry, not 40 there. 40 in the box. Okay, so what did I multiply 5 by to get 40? I used 8. Okay, 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 7, 49. 8 times 7, 56. Okay, and now I've got to use a bit of trial and error. Okay, I know that the divers are equal. Okay, so um, I did use an estimate of 6 times 5 is 30. Well, not an estimate, that's the number I put in. 6 times 7 is 42. Okay, then I know that the policemen are equal. And then 7 times 6 is 42. Okay, and then those two are equal, as the two divers I said earlier are equal. So I know I'm on the right path. And then the last one is 8 times 6 is 48. Okay, well done if you worked through that. That's a good effort. Right, there's your finisher for today. 24. Remember, you need to use each card. So your first card, you're going to use 8, 6, 5, and 4. You can use any operational sign. You can use like all of them together. You can use one of them, two of them, three of them. Just get to the answer of 24, and remember your order of operations are very, very important. Okay, guys, thanks very much for catching up with us today. Again, just a reminder that WorksheetCloud.com is bringing you these free lessons during lockdown, along with some additional activities with memos that you can practice with. And please email us at any time with any questions regarding the lessons we've taught, or any lessons or any content that you are unsure of, and we'll be more than happy to help you out. Keep safe and see you guys tomorrow. All the best.